Okay, so what happens when the most powerful person in the world can't sleep? Well, apparently, he picks a fight with a late-night comedian. We are about to dive into one of the wildest media showdowns you have ever seen. We're talking millions of dollars, huge corporate deals, and just so much drama. Let's get into it. But hey, real quick, before we jump into all that chaos, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Go on, ring the bell too. That way, you won't miss any of these deep dives. It's a huge help. Thanks. All right, here we go. Our story kicks off where, a lot of modern political stories do, online, in the dead of night. So, picture this. It's 2 in the morning, most of the country is fast asleep. But the president? Oh, he's up, and he is tweeting. And he posts this. There is a sick rumor going around that fake news NBC extended the contract of one of the least talented late-night television hosts out there, Seth Meyers. He calls the guy a dope and then finishes with this little promise. I'll definitely be finding out. Which, of course, brings up the big question. Why? I mean, with everything else going on in the world, why is the President of the United States spending his time at 2 a.m. investigating a comedian's contract? Well, the answer, as it turns out, has almost nothing to do with Seth Meyers.
Yeah, to really get what's going on here, we've got to rewind a little bit. See, this was not the first late-night host to end up in the president's crosshairs. This whole thing is like a chain reaction, a series of dominoes, and the very first one to fall, that was Stephen Colbert.
So how did this whole thing with Colbert start? Well, it kicked off when Colbert went public and just blasted his own network, CBS. Why? For paying a gigantic settlement to Trump. Trump then fires back, celebrating a totally false rumor that Colbert's show got canceled. And that's when you see other hosts like Meyers and Fallon jump in to back Colbert up. The battle lines were officially drawn.
So that's the big mystery, right? What was this settlement even about? I mean, what could possibly make a TV host go to war with his own bosses live on the air? It all boils down to one number, and trust me, it's a big one.
$16 million. Yep, you heard that right. That is how much CBS's parent company Paramount paid to settle a dispute with Trump that was connected to a 60 Minutes interview. Colbert did not hold back. He straight up called it a big, fat bribe.
But here's the real kicker. This was never just about a TV interview. It was all business. See, Paramount was trying to push through a massive $8 billion merger that needed a thumbs up from the government. So, was paying $16 million to keep the White House happy worth it? One former boss just called it a no-brainer.
So after seeing just how well this strategy worked with CBS, the president didn't stop with just targeting hosts. Nope, he escalated. The new target wasn't just the person on screen, it was the entire network behind them. He took aim squarely at NBC, Seth Meyers' network, and also ABC. The attacks were nonstop, using all those classic labels, fake news, crooked journalism, and even calling them an arm of the Democrat Party. This was a full-on war on their credibility. And then, he dropped the biggest threat of all. He publicly suggested that these networks should have their licenses revoked by the FCC. And then he added, I would be totally in favor of that. Let's just be super clear here. That's not just criticism anymore. That's threatening a network's actual right to even exist. So that's the backdrop, right? This escalating war of words. The president is out there taking victory laps, claiming everything is a huge success. But how does that story actually line up with the data? Let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture.
And this is where you see a really stark contrast. On one side, you have the president's own statement, calling his term among the greatest 8 months in presidential history. And on the other side, you have the polls, which at the time consistently put his approval ratings down in the low 40s. So a pretty big gap between the claim and the reality.
Which really leaves us with one last big question. In this never-ending battle between politicians and the media, between late-night punchlines and 2 a.m. tweets, who actually gets the last laugh? So what do you think? Is all of this just political theater, or is it something more serious? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I really want to know what you think. And hey, if you liked this breakdown, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.